Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie opens in New York inside a restaurant. Tony assigns Leon to persuade the new target audience that it is best to avoid Mauritius territory. Leon accepts the mission, and that day, the target enters his hotel with a large group of bodyguards. His name is literally Fat Man, and he is there to see his girlfriend and do shady business. Leon arrives at the front desk. Fat Man receives a phone call from Tonto, who tells him that someone is coming to talk to him. His men get ready and wait in front of the elevator. When it opens, they begin shooting what turns out to be Tonto's body. The rest of the men disperse to prepare the car and search for the killer. As one of the bodyguards faces the stairwell, Leon grabs him and pulls him down. Leon continues to take out the bodyguards and blocks the exits. He traps Fat Man in the room and kills the rest of his escort. The man grabs more guns and a phone to call 911. Leon shows up behind him, and he hangs up. He tells Leon to take the drugs and let him live, but he shows him a number and tells him to call him. Maurice answers him and tells him not to show up in town again. Later, Leon enters his building. Matilda, sitting on the stairs, sees him and greets him. Leon realizes that someone has beaten her, but she lies about how it happened. Suddenly someone comes out of her apartment and argues with her father about the drugs in his hand. Apparently, there is a missing quantity, and Stan tells him that he must find out who stole it by tomorrow. The two leave, and the father yells that they should find out for themselves, then slaps Matilda in the face. The next day, Matilda's family goes about its morning routine, while Leon goes to the movies. When he returns home, he finds Matilda on the stairs with a bloody nose. Back at his apartment, he gets a glass and milk. At the same time, some armed men enter the building, followed by Stan. Matilda's father is waiting for them to arrive as they said they would, and Leon sees them in the hallway. Stan enters the apartment with a gunshot, and his men pursue him. He kills first the mother, then the eldest daughter, and ransacks the house. Finally, Stan reaches the father and tells him that time is up. Malky and the others enter, and he tells them to ransack the apartment. Meanwhile, Matilda is in the store doing her shopping. The men are ransacking the apartment, and in the process, the father grabs his gun and starts shooting. One of Stan's men kills Matilda's brother. The father runs away, but Stan gets him anyway. Later, Matilda re-enters the building and immediately realizes something is happening. She finds her father dead and learns that her brother has also been killed. She rings Leon's doorbell begging him to let her in. Leon hesitates, but finally lets her in. Malky sees that Matilda is missing, and they search for her. Stan's men find the drugs and run away as the policemen arrive. Leon consoles Matilda, but she says she loves only her little brother. Matilda says she has nowhere else to go. She opens his suitcase and finds his guns. When he returns, she asks him if he is a hitman, and he says yes. She asks him to teach her how to be a hitman, but he says no. Instead of arguing, he tells her to rest and that they will talk about it tomorrow. At night, he decides to kill the girl. When he approaches the bed, however, he changes his mind. He hears her get up and tells her that after breakfast, she must leave. She hands him a note that he cannot read. It says that she wants to be a hit woman. He says she is just a child and will not be able to do it. She takes the gun and shoots out the window, to prove that she is capable. Later, they go to a hotel. The receptionist gives forms to fill out, and Matilda takes them. She reaches the room, and Leon examines it and checks it thoroughly. Sometime later, Leon goes to talk to Tony about getting a beginner's gun. He returns to Matilda and opens the box with the gun, saying that it is the first weapon she needs to learn to use, because it will allow her to keep her distance from the client. They find the right position, and he tells her to hit anyone. Matilda sees a man jogging, and Leon tells her what to do. She hits the man with a paintball, and Leon is impressed. They spend much of the day together. She teaches Leon how to write, and he teaches Matilda how to assemble a gun. Leon visits Tony and asks him for the money he has earned over the years. Tony suspects that he has met a woman, and tells him to be careful, because he has been in trouble in the past because of a woman. Leon says he needs the money to help someone. Meanwhile, Leon sees Matilda talking to a boy, and goes to scold her not to talk to random people. The next day Matilda goes to her apartment and picks up her brother's stuffed rabbit. She finds her father's secret money, but she hears Stan enter and hides. The cops ask him how things went, and he invites them to his office. Matilda hears his office number and runs after him, gets into a cab, and tells the taxi driver to follow the car. The girl discovers that Stan is a DEA agent. Matilda meets with Leon and asks him to kill the men who killed her family. Leon refuses and says that revenge is not a good thing. Desperate, Matilda loads the revolver and says, He must keep her forever if she wins the roulette. Leon knows there is a round in the chamber. When she puts the revolver to her temple, he grabs the gun and shoots it away from her head. Matilda thinks she has won, and they go to Tony together to get to know each other. Tony hesitates, but Leon tells him that she is a quick learner. So they go on a job together. They break into a man's house, and Leon puts the gun in his mouth and takes him with him. The girl loads the gun and shoots the man with a paintball. She then delivers the second safety shot. Leon tells her never to shoot in the face because they have to recognize the target. Then Leon kills the man, and they destroy the drugs together. They go for another hit, and another, perfecting their routine. They reach an apartment, and Leon hears that the man inside is preparing a weapon and gets Matilda out of the way. He tells her that in this case, she should use the ring trick. Leon throws a grenade into the apartment, and shows her the grenade ring. The next day, Leon visits Tony and tells him that if something happens to him someday, he should give his money to Matilda. Later, Leon prepares for a job but tells Matilda that he cannot take her along because it is a difficult job. He tells her that he needs a moment to himself. She is left alone, taking care of the plant and watching TV. Some boys try to bully her, but she just gives them money and tells them to go somewhere else. She has something in mind. In fact, she lurks at Stan's workplace and follows him inside. She pretends to bring food to his office, and signs the building entrance smoothly. Matilda follows Stan into the men's room, but he waits for her there. He orders her to put the bag down on the floor and tells him who sent her. He asks her if it is anything personal, and she tells him that he killed her brother. Stan apologizes but asks Matilda if she wants to work with him. Suddenly, one of his men comes in and tells him that Malky is dead. The people he was making a deal with told him that a professional had killed Malky. Before the professional shot him, he had said, "No women, no children." She understands that Leon killed Malky. Stan doesn't kill Matilda and tells his man to take her to his office. When Leon returns home, he finds a note from Matilda saying she is looking for Stan and quickly goes to the DEA office to rescue her. She is in Stan's office with his men wondering what she is doing with all those weapons. Suddenly, Leon arrives and shoots them both. That night, Matilda wears the dress he gave her. She sits next to him and tries to seduce him. Leon rejects her and tells about a woman he was in love with in Italy. Her father did not want her to see Leon and killed her. One night, Leon killed him and took a ship to America. Since then, he has never had another girlfriend. Later, Tony receives a visit from Stan. The man sits down and asks Tony if he knows who killed Malky, since the hit was carried out on his territory by an Italian-looking man. He also tells him about Matilda and the man who came to his office to pick her up. Leon wakes up the next morning. Matilda gets up to buy milk, and they repeat the secret knocking. He lies down again, but when Matilda returns, Stan is there waiting for her. A SWAT team catches her before she can enter the apartment. They ask her if there is a way to knock so that he knows it is her. Matilda gives them the wrong code. The men knock on the door, prepare to break into the apartment, and inform Stan that they are ready to enter. Once inside, they do not see Leon, who closes the door behind them and kills them. Stan turns to Benny and tells him to bring reinforcements. Police and emergency services patrols surround the building, and more SWAT enters the building. Leon waits in the apartment and starts shooting, until he too is hit. One of the police officers takes a look around the apartment, and comes face to face with Leon's gun. He tells the others, and they walk away. Leon tells them to let Matilda go. She reaches for him and grabs the axe from the wall, as he backs away, holding the officer hostage. Leon shoots the sprinklers, and the other officers think he shot their man, so they intervene by firing. Leon fires again, and they back away, calling for reinforcements. Leon saves his plant from incoming sniper fire. Then they enter the other room. The police block the corridor, and Leon creates another way out for them. He makes a hole in the wall and puts Matilda in it. She does not want to go in there because she knows he will not come in with her. Leon tells her that he has a lot of money from Tony, that they will take and leave together. Meanwhile, the police prepare to blow them up. Matilda fears losing him, but Leon tells her that she has given him a taste of life, and that he no longer wants to be alone. He convinces her to go down the well and tells her he loves her. The police blow up the apartment, but fortunately, Leon survives. They are preparing to enter when they see someone raise his hand. The man is grabbed and taken downstairs. Leon manages to fool them into thinking he is one of their own, and they let him out. Meanwhile, while Matilda leaves the building, Stan is angry that they cannot find them. The doctor is attending to Leon, when Stan arrives and recognizes him. Leon puts his mask back on, and Stan gets all the officers out. Matilda goes out the back and passes by the policeman. Leon comes down the stairs and is near the exit, when Stan appears behind him and shoots him. He bends down to check, and Leon asks him if it is Stan. When the latter confirms this to Leon, he puts a grenade ring in his hand and says it is from Matilda. Both of them blow up. Matilda is with Tony, who suggests keeping the money for her, as Leon said. He gives her $100, but she asks for a job as a hit woman. Tony yells at her that it is over, because Leon is dead. Tony tells her to take the money and go back to school. Matilda returns to the school she was kicked out of, and tells a false story about the death of her parents. The principal welcomes her back to the school but forces her to stop lying. Matilda walks into the field, and plants Leon's houseplant in the courtyard. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.